flood without pushing forward, without staying in place? When I pushed forward, I was whirled about. When I stayed in place, I sank. And so I crossed over the flood without pushing forward, without staying in place. The devata, at long last I see a brahman totally unbound, who without pushing forward, without staying in place, has crossed over the entanglements of the world. That is what the devata said. The teacher approved. Realizing that, the teacher has approved of me, she bowed down to him, circumambulated him, keeping him to her right, and then vanished right there. Sariputra, deep, O Lord, is perfection of wisdom. Hard to fathom is perfection of wisdom. Hard to grasp is perfection of wisdom. Unlimited is perfection of wisdom. The Lord, so it is, Sariputra. One does not stand in any notion such as the form, feeling, perception, impulse, or consciousness is deep. Insofar as one does not stand in any such notion as, one makes efforts about form, etc., one does not make efforts about any such notion as a form, etc., is deep. Insofar as one makes no efforts about any such notion, one does not stand in any notion as a form, etc., is deep. Qualifications of a bodhisattva who obtains perfect wisdom. Sariputra, only when presented to an irreversible bodhisattva, to any bodhisattva predestined to enlightenment, is deep perfection of wisdom understood, and only so may this herein be taught. For such do not hesitate, do not doubt, do not get stupefied, and not dispute this. Sakra, what is the fault in teaching this perfection of wisdom in front of an unpredestined bodhisattva? Sariputra, if Kausaka, unpredestined, a bodhisattva obtains this perfection of wisdom, for vision, praise, worship and hearing, and if one remains unafraid as one hears this, one can be sure this one comes from afar, is set out for long in this vehicle, and this one's wholesome roots are well matured. It is not long from now onwards until this one receives the prediction to supreme enlightenment. One can be sure this prediction is near, and comes to one before one passes by 1, 2 or 3 Tathagatas. And, of course, one pleases the Tathagatas whom one passes by, pleases these permanently, and so one sees to it the vision of these Tathagatas bears the fruit of the prediction, so it leads one to the prediction to supreme enlightenment itself. Once come from afar, O Lord, set out for long in this great vehicle, with wholesome roots well matured is this bodhisattva obtaining this perfection of wisdom for vision, praise, worship, hearing and understanding. How much more so if one not only hears this, but also takes this up, bears this in mind, preaches, studies, spreads, explains and repeats such as this. The Lord, so it is, Sariputra, as you have said. 5 similes to illustrate nearness to full enlightenment. Sariputra, a simile or example flashes into my mind, O Lord. Just as we are sure a person belonging to this vehicle of bodhisattvas, when one dreams that one sits on the terrace of enlightenment, is actually near to supreme enlightenment, just so, we can be sure a person who fulfills these conditions just outlined has come from afar, and is set out for long in the vehicle of the bodhisattvas, and is near this prediction to enlightenment. We can be sure Buddhas, the Lords, will predict this bodhisattva to win full enlightenment. For a bodhisattva is set out for long in this vehicle, and one's wholesome roots are mature, if one gets to this deep perfection of wisdom, even if one gets no further than hearing this. How much more so if one would also bear it in mind, etc., to repeat it. For the thoughts of beings not without an abundance of accumulations of karma conducive to the ruin of dharma, become adverse to this deep perfection of wisdom, do sway away from this. Through the abundance of such karma, beings who do not collect wholesome roots find neither satisfaction nor faith in this reality limit. But any such beings who do find satisfaction and faith in this are people who collected wholesome roots, well collected these. A person coming out of a huge wild forest, 100 miles big, up to 1,000 miles big, might see certain signs which indicate a town, or other inhabited place, such as cowherds, or cattle keepers, or boundary lines, or gardens, or groves. From these signs one infers the nearness of an inhabited place. One feels happier, and robbers no longer worry this one. Just so a bodhisattva for whom this deep perfection turns up can no one is quite near to supreme enlightenment, and before long one will receive the prediction to such. One also no longer need be afraid of the level of the disciples and pratyabuddhas. For this sign has appeared to this one, i.e., one has received this deep perfection of wisdom for vision, praise, worship, hearing, and or understanding. The Lord, so it is, Sariputra. May you make clear also this section. For what you say, and what you will say, is due to the Buddha's might. Sariputra, a person, desirous of seeing the great ocean, might travel to it. As long as on one's travels one sees a tree, or the sign of a tree, a mountain, or the sign of a mountain, one knows the great ocean is still far away. But when one no longer sees either tree or mountain, one knows the great ocean is quite near to here. For this great ocean gradually slopes away, and within it there is neither tree nor mountain. So, although one may not yet see the great ocean directly before one's eyes, one nevertheless can be quite certain the ocean is quite near, not much farther away from here. Similar is the case of any bodhisattva hearing this deep perfection of wisdom. One can know this, even although perhaps one has not yet been face to face with these Tathagatas, and predicted to supreme enlightenment, nevertheless one is quite near this prediction. For one has received this deep perfection of wisdom for vision, praise, worship, hearing, and or understanding. Likewise, in this spring, O Lord, as last year's leaves are withered away, one can see sproutings on many trees. The people of Jambudvipa are glad, because as these see these symptoms in the woods, these ones know soon also flowers and fruits come out. For they see such signs in the trees. Just so, O Lord, one can be sure that a bodhisattva, when one receives this deep perfection of wisdom, as this even turns up for one, such a one has become matured in one's wholesome roots for a long time. It is just because of the existence of these wholesome roots in such a one, this deep perfection of wisdom has been over to whoever this is. Then any divinities who see the Buddhas of any past are delighted, overjoyed and enchanted, as these feel surely it is not long until this bodhisattva receives this prediction to full enlightenment. Since also with any bodhisattvas of any past these are the symptoms of their coming prediction to full enlightenment. Likewise, O Lord, a woman pregnant with a heavy womb, is twisted and all weary, she does not walk about a great deal, takes little food, finds